Liverpool and Everton is on the horizon, and the Merseyside Derby is one of the best games. It's the one I always look forward to. It's the one I hate to lose. Reds Down Under is your Australian fan podcast for Reds here in Australia. If you are enjoying the podcast and you are a regular, then I'm talking to you. Please do give us a review, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It will make a big difference, and pass the pod on to any Reds that you think might like it as well. Let's go. Here's me talking about Liverpool and Everton.
This is the Reds Down Under podcast, the best place to follow the Reds in Australia. Enjoy the show.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
Reds, how are we? It's international break at the moment, so that means England are playing, and it also means that Liverpool aren't playing. So the last 2 weeks for me has been terrible. Now, last week we did say we'd have Curtis on, who's a Man United fan, and he was going to join us and we'd talk about Liverpool, Man U, but we've had to push that back. He's still going to come on. We're still going to give him 2 barrel loads of shit, basically, for being a Man United fan, but we've had to push it back. So if you were expecting that episode, don't worry, come back. It will be there. And it will be one of our first episodes of the away end, where we're going to have rival fans on, basically, to listen about the rivalry between our 2 clubs. This episode, we're going to focus on the Merseyside Derby, and for me, one of the greatest fixtures in not just English football, but just football in general. You know, people talk about River Plate and Boca and all this, Barca and Real. It's nonsense. Liverpool and Everton, such a huge game, so we're going to be looking at that today. Before we get into that, got a little bit of housekeeping to do. First of all, thank you to Red Boat Ventures, who you might have heard us talking about Magic Box previously. Magic Box is part of Red Boat, and they are our production partner. They've been brilliant. Really helping us out step by step. They've been absolutely amazing. So as the coming weeks crack on towards the end of the season, I'll start telling you a little bit more about what they do as well. On the 27th is my mum's birthday, so happy birthday, Mum. She's a massive supporter of the podcast, and she's actually sent us in a message this week on Instagram talking about her favourite Merseyside Derby memory, which, to be honest, I can't imagine many people out there. They'll know the game, but the chances of them being at the game would be really slight. So we'll talk about that later. So happy birthday, Mum. Thank you to Royal MG for the soundtrack as ever, and thank you to George Sefton, the voice of Anfield, for our intro. Liverpool's next game is the Merseyside Derby, and obviously I'm from Liverpool. People talk about the rivalry between Liverpool and Manchester United. Growing up in the city, the Merseyside Derby is everything. It really is absolutely everything. The week before a derby game in Liverpool is it's just filled with absolute anxiety. And I get a different feeling over here before a derby game. We'll talk a bit more about it later, but I'm quite looking forward to this one. I think we'll turn them over. But it's not always that way. When we played them a couple of weeks ago at Goodison, it wasn't a game I was looking forward to, and it wasn't a game where we got a great result in the end, was it? That late goal, Tarkovsky, or Tchaikovsky, as I accidentally call him all the time, who apparently is a composer. But the Merseyside Derby in Liverpool, the whole build-up, the whole week, everyone's talking about it. Absolutely everyone. So what I did this week was I put out a post on Instagram, just asking basically for people's thoughts on their favourite derby memories. And I'll be honest with you, we had so many that I can't get through them all. But some people have mentioned the same memories, so we will touch on them. I thought to get us going, I'd start with the day of the derby. So, or like a couple of days before the derby, every Liverpool fan, or most of them anyway, is always supremely confident for this game. Everyone you speak to thinks, oh, we're going to turn them over. It doesn't matter whether it's at Anfield or it's at Goodison. And then you get the odd Liverpool fan who's always a bit like, if we lose against these, it's going to be the worst. And I sort of always fit in the category of, we're going to do these, but every now and again there is an Everton team, like there was under David Moyes the first time, that could hurt you. Phil Jagielka. So I think that always plays into it a little bit. The Everton fans normally have one attitude, and that is, well, we're going to get beat anyway. And you'll get a penalty, or you know, we'll get a red card early on and it'll kill the game. That's what they're like. So anytime you try and speak to an Evertonian about it, they're always negative. Fair play to Jake, who is a family friend from back home. I sent him a message, asked him what he thought. He thinks the Blues are going to win. I don't know what time he responded to that message. Actually, he might have been drinking. Yeah, maybe. But that's the sort. Everyone you speak to, nah. Yeah, you should win. You should win. You spend more money than us. But when it comes to Derby Day, it's a city that's very united, I'd say. Derby Day is completely different. Completely different. When you go in the game in Anfield, obviously that's just my normal routine. So I go the same boozers, do the normal thing. The stadiums, as you know, are so close to each other. It's like a 5-minute walk across the park, depending if, you know, you haven't had 7 pints before the game, like, does affect the walk, but it's so close. So sometimes some of the pubs that you would go to when you're going to Anfield, they're Blues pubs. So on Derby Day, even if you're going to Anfield, it's a derby at Anfield, they'll be Blues pubs. So obviously you're not going to go in there because you're going to get your head kicked in. That's another thing as well. I hear this thing, you know, the Merseyside Derby, it's the friendly derby. It's not the friendly derby at all. I don't want to see them do well, and they don't want to see me do well. Like, the other year when it looked like we might win the quadruple and they might get relegated was the best year of my life up until, the last 2 games of the season. So on Derby Day, getting down to your preferred pub, getting down there early is always brilliant. You know, getting the train, I'm wearing this shirt now, but normally when I'm going to the game, I don't really wear colours. And it's a really interesting sort of divide, casting a shadow all over my face here by putting my hands in front of it like an absolute idiot. The absolute divide. So you'll get the train up to the ground, say, and you'll see loads of people with red scarves, loads of people with blue scarves, and then you'll see a section, no scarves, no colours. You wouldn't know, you wouldn't be able to pick them out who they support. And there's a tension in that, because you know you're on the train with loads of Blues and you're all talking about the game. And at the same time, there's Blues and they'll be talking about the game, but they'll be keeping an eye out that there's no Reds next to them or whatever. But just the whole vibe, going to Goodison, going to Anfield on Derby Day, there's nothing better. Going to like Old Trafford, it's an amazing day out. Going to the Emirates, it's a great day out. Stamford Bridge. But going to Goodison Park, which is, you know, if Liverpool Football Club didn't exist, I'd just be an Everton fan. That's the way it will be. You know what I mean? You don't get a choice. That's the way it is. But the hatred is there, and it's for everyone to see, especially when the game finishes. Especially if you're going to go and have a couple of pints after a Merseyside derby, you've got to keep your wits about you a little bit, like, you know what I mean? Like, you shut up, keep your mouth shut, like, there's always a little bit of trouble in the city. And that got me to thinking, Merseyside derby memories. So, as I said, I asked people for their memories. I'll start with my first memory, which was at Goodison Park, and in fact, I can't remember what year it was now. I haven't got it written down, but it was when Sander Westerveld took a free kick, and as he hit it, the referee blew his whistle, and it hit the Everton player and went in, and the referee disallowed the goal. And I was young. I can't really remember much of the game, but it was back and forth, and I think it finished 1-1. And I remember thinking, that's Liverpool. to concede a goal like that, but for it to be disallowed is a proper derby thing, and that's what these Everton fans think. They think Everton goes for Liverpool. My next memory of the derby was probably not my memory, but the big one that stands out really from Merseyside derby was that McAllister last minute, what was it, like a 40-yard free kick. We beat them 3-2. My dad took me the game, but we were in the Everton end. We were in the, where's our kids when you need them? What's the opposite end to the Gladys Street? Can't remember. The park end. Anyway, the temporary stand thing that I've still got for 30 years. And we were in there, and I was only little at the time, so I was 2002, so I was 12. I was only a little kid, and it was a really good game. Robbie Fowler at the post with a penalty. There was 2 red cards, I think. We got 1 sent off. I can't remember who got sent off now. I think it might have been like Marcus Babbel, someone like that, or Bishkan. I think it might have even been Bishkan. Everton got a player sent off. We missed the penalty, and Everton scored a late goal to what it looked like it was going to be 2-2. And Gary Mack just did this free kick. We were in front of it, and he's just curved it in the bottom corner. And we've gone mad, me and my dad, and we're surrounded by blues. Absolutely surrounded by blues. And there was murder. People were kicking off, you fucking copites, this and that, and proper having a go. My half fella's on his own with a little kid, essentially. And next thing, this big fella stands up. Big baldy fella. Looked like Stone Cold, but like not muscly. And he stands up and he goes, "You alright, Dave?" Who's me dad, obviously. "Alright, Dave." And my dad's like, "Alright, Steve," or whatever. He knew him from years ago, and the fella had spotted us, and we were about to get our heads kicked in, or my dad was, because again, I was little, probably eating a hot dog or something. And it all settled down. We got up the ground pretty quick, and we were gone. And I was like, "Whoa, that's a bit naughty, that," because you grow up thinking as a kid, it's all my mates are Evertonians. Derby day, very different. But being there for that Gary Mack goal, and I can't remember it at the time, but seeing the footage back of Gerard Houllier on the touchline going bonkers is definitely one of my best derby memories. Another big one that I had, which was sent in by Max in Newcastle, who, by the way, boxed me off a ticket for the Anfield Wrap the other week. He's a great lad. He sent in the Dirk Kuyt last-minute penalty for the Phil Neville handball at Goodison. So that game I was in the family enclosure at Goodison, which again is an Everton area. I was there with my mate, Alex. And yeah, the game was 2-2. And unbelievably, Steven Gerrard got hooked off. Probably with, 10 minutes to go. And Lucas Leiva came on. And Lucas Leiva went in the 10, which anyone who remembers Lucas Leiva knows he's not an attacking player at all. I don't even think I've seen him score, ever. I think he scored one. Did he score one? Screamer. And he hooked Gerrard off, and the boos and the jubilation for the Everton fans as Steven Gerrard left the pitch was unbelievable. It was like a goal. And then the ball comes out to Lucas Leiva on the edge of the box, and he just curls it, opens his foot, curls it, and it's beat Tim Howard, must have been Tim Howard. And as it's going in, Phil Jagielka jumps up and punches the ball away. Penalty. Oh, he went down holding his face. Come on, Phil. He went down holding his face, and the referee, penalty, red card, and Dirk Kuyt with the last kick of the Merseyside Derby scored 3-2. Me and my mate went mad, and again, people kicked off. We were older then. We were like, let's get out of Dodge. But Max, yeah, that was one of my favourite Derby days. That was, because again, that was could have got a little bit naughty, even though we were in the family enclosure at Goodison. What else have we got here? John, who was on the podcast last week, said Mane's 94th minute winner at Goodison. This game was unbelievable, John, because I was in Paris actually, and I was on holiday, and I had what's that thing where it goes out one end, out the other end? Neuro. I had neuro, and I was sick as a dog. But that night I went, I was starting to feel sick, but I wasn't sick yet. And I watched the Reds in a pub in Paris, with French commentary, I think. And yeah, I remember it clear as day. Daniel Sturridge cuts in and takes a shot on his strong left foot, but it's not a great shot. And it beats the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper sort of goes down to save it. And it sort of happens in slow motion. The ball bounces off the post, and Mane makes up 10 yards out of nowhere to come in and get there before the goalkeeper, get there before the centre-back, slots it in. And that was one of the goals for me, mate, that signified the Klopp era, the attitude. To go and beat them in the last minute, there's nothing better, is there? Talking of last minute derby moments, well, we'll get to the big one in a second. To give this a little bit of balance, Jake, who's a massive Blue Nose, it's coffee this week, by the way. It's coffee. It's been a big week in work. Jake, Blue Nose, massive Blue Nose, hates Liverpool, but he's fair enough about it. He sent in his favourite derby memories, or some that stood out for him, and two of them were actually late Everton goals. Phil Jagielka scored that screamer at Anfield. It must have been the last kick of the game. The ball drops them. I think the game ended 2-2. I think Arteta had scored in that game, and the ball drops to Phil Jagielka, and he cracks it in the top corner past Pepe Reina. I remember that game. It felt like a loss to Everton fans. It definitely felt like a win, and I was lucky enough, actually. I did, when I worked in video production, I worked with Everton on a job, and I worked with Phil Jagielka, and I was speaking to him about it, and he said, oh, it's like the thing all the Evertonians always mention to me. So he's dining out on it, his old Jags. And then Jake also mentions that Tarkowski late goal at Goodison this year. He sent me a picture in as well, which probably isn't safe for YouTube, but him celebrating the goal, he rips his trousers and everything, they're fucking ruined. But it's just what it's all about. And even though he's a Blue Nose, I get it. I absolutely get it. By the way, quick side quest. That new stadium that they've got looks good. Looks really good. But have you seen the steps? How steep the steps are? It's unbelievable. It looks like if you literally miss a step, you're dead. You're gone. You're absolutely gone. Alright, let's get back to the Reds then. Because Jake sent me a message and I thought it'd be terrible not to mention it, mate. The best ever Merseyside Derby last minute goal was a game at Anfield, and the Reds were going for the title, and it was desperation. Absolute desperation. I was in the Kop, I was behind the goal, and we get a free kick in our own half, and Alisson Becker chugs down the line and takes it on the halfway line, I think, and he just passes it short to Trent. And Trent stands one up, and it gets cleared. Someone clears it. I can't remember who clears it now for Everton. The ball comes back to Virgil van Dijk, and he just swipes at it, slices right across it, and the ball goes up into the air, and we're all behind the goal. And actually, if you look at the footage, you can see me behind the goal, and we all just look up, and the ball comes down, hits the crossbar, and then old mate Little Arms catches it and drops it back onto the bar, doesn't it? Doesn't it hit the bar twice? And then it comes down, and who's there? Old mate Divock puts it in the goal, and the ground went fucking bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. One of the best experiences I've ever had as a Red was that moment of Divock Origi scoring that goal in that moment, because it was a Liverpool way of winning the game. It was jammy, that's what they'd say, Everton fans. That was jammy, that was jammy, that Origi goal. But it happens to us, it doesn't happen to them. It doesn't happen to anyone else. That sheer amount of luck doesn't happen. And it just went bonkers. And seeing old Kloppo there run on the pitch with Alisson and celebrate. And yeah, we were Liverpool, we were mustard, and we got out of there with a win, and we probably shouldn't have done. One of the best memories. That was sent in by loads of people. But Will mentioned it from Brisbane, and Wayne from Adelaide mentioned it. Red's one of my favourite moments. I'm glad you sent it in. One thing, we got another message as well, and it made me laugh because it is something I always think about, is the red cards in the derby. I think, I was trying to look for the stat earlier and I couldn't find it. It'll be somewhere, but every time you watch the derby, it says, this is the most, this is the worst disciplined fixture in the history of English football. It's got this many red cards and whatever. Merseyside derbies are toasty occasions, early on, you think of red cards in games and they all stand out, don't they? Milan Baros charging down the line and doing a crazy slide tackle didn't have to be done. I think on the goalkeeper, red card. Jack Rodwell, red card. I think for a tackle on Alonso. And the message that we got, which really, again, give me a big flashback was he said it was Pokey Connor. That's not his real name, but that's his Instagram name. I think he's an Irishman living in Sydney. So welcome to the pod, mate. This is the place for you. Gerrard getting sent off early, but still thrashing him. And he didn't mention the game, but I'm sure it's the 2008 league game at Anfield. Gerrard got sent off. I think it was 2008 because Liverpool won the Capital of Culture for 2008, the European Capital of Culture. And I remember it because the two number 8s, which was, I think, Gerrard was 8 and maybe Arteta again, they were wearing 08 on the back of the shirt. Gerrard picks up a yellow card and then he's chasing the ball down again, down the right-hand side. Another tackle, 2 yellow cards in like 30 seconds or something stupid. And the Reds just went on and just creamed it. Just absolutely creamed it. We were brilliant. I think Louis Garcia scored, and I think Harry Kewell scored a cracker. With his, like, he was on the right hand side, cut in on his left, and he's cracked it in the far corner. Someone will know whether it is or it isn't. Yeah, and you know what? Before I move on here, I'm going to do a bit of a... I've got to check my messages because someone sent this in and I wanted to remember to say it. Who sent this in? I can't remember. This is boring for people on radio, especially. Listening on the radio. It was the... I'm so sorry, Reds. I can't find who it was. I did write it down, but I've lost it. It was the Stevie Gerrard hat-trick in the derby at Anfield. Again, a game I was lucky enough to be there. I was actually at uni at the time and came back up for the midweek game. We were playing them on a Wednesday, I think. 2012, give or take. And yeah, I'm sure Kenny was the manager. Stevie Gerrard gets a hat-trick. And Luis Suarez was unbelievable. I think it was 3-0. And when he scored the third goal, Gerrard puts the ball under his shirt, you know, to make it look like he's pregnant. And he's sucking his thumb because they were all singing "The Baby's Not Yours," horrible bastards. But yeah, seeing Stevie score a hat-trick in that game, you know, we've all heard about Rushy and that scoring 4 against the Blues, but to see Stevie get a hat-trick, and after the amount of shit that they gave him down the years, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So thanks for that message. Whoever it was, cannot find you, but thank you. We did get one message about Curtis Jones from Hainsey. His memory was the Curtis Jones FA Cup goal where he cuts inside on his right hand, he just whips it, doesn't he? Absolutely thrashes across the ball, whips it into the far corner, scores an absolute screamer. And I think that was the moment, Hainsey, where we all went, yeah, this lad's got it. This lad's got it, hasn't he? I think I remember seeing him play a game. It might have been against Bournemouth in the league. Yeah, I think he came on from the bench. And I said to Jack, this kid, he can't pass the ball. He'd like pass the ball, and the players would have to like lean over to get control of the ball. And our kid was like, what are you talking about? And then he said it to me later on, like he'd seen another game, and he was like, oh, that Curtis Jones, I know what you mean. But then, oh man, like, he has become a sensational player. If he played for Spain, Hainsey, how much would we have to pay for him? He's got Everton. He can score, he can assist, he's got a good engine in him, he's got a good tackle on him, he's got great work ethic. He's got everything. He can score, he can assist, he's got a good engine in him, he's got a good tackle on him, he's got great work ethic. He's got great work ethic. He's got great work ethic. He's got a good tackle on him, he's got a good engine in him, he's got a good tackle on him, he's got great work ethic. to me, he's sort of like the complete midfielder. I think I will be hoping to play Curtis Jones more and more and more. We spoke on the podcast recently about, or I spoke about, we're missing a player in there. We're missing a Thiago who can just keep the ball, play the ball. But I do think Curtis Jones is super comfortable with the ball deep in his own half. He's comfortable when, anytime Kanate steps forward or whatever, he's comfortable in sitting in there in that midfield, covering Robertson and playing the ball. And I think he's got a big future in, mate. And I think that goal you're talking about against Everton in the Cup was probably the moment we all thought, he's got it, this lad. What a win that was there then. We will talk about the upcoming derby next week. This is just really a look at Liverpool and Everton as a rivalry, really. Before we move on, before we go, the FA Cup final 1989, the year of the Hillsborough disaster, is always something that I think even now still unites the city. And the Liverpool and Everton fans went to Wembley that day. They both wanted to win the cup, but there was unity and sadness and grieving and strength from what I hear, and the fans all being together singing Merseyside and people travelling down on buses together. And I think that's where the idea of the friendly rivalry, the friendly derby comes in, because of Hillsborough and the way that those fans reacted then. And to be honest with you, in the years since that, I think at times, not all Everton fans and not all Liverpool fans have always held themselves up very well against this either, but I think at times Everton fans have been a disgrace, and for the songs that they sing at Anfield and things like that. But that moment there, special moment between those fans, and I think just solidifies that bond. And my mum was there in that game. My mum and dad got one ticket between them, and my mum went, and my dad was gutted, and my ma went and had a boss day, and my dad watched it in the boozer or whatever. And I think as well when young Reece got shot in Liverpool, I didn't really. I thought it was mad at the time. They wanted to play Z-Cars at Anfield, and I was like, oh, but I was in that sort of head thing myself of like, oh, well, but they're Everton, and yeah, like, I don't want Z-Cars at Anfield. And then, seeing Z-Cars being played and just the ultimate respect from the Liverpool fans and the Everton fans, and everyone was cheering together, was unbelievable. And I think that's where, even though we are huge rivals, those moments still tick on. Well, look, as I say, we will talk about the derby next week. We'll look at the game specifically. I hope you haven't minded me going down memory lane a little bit, because, as I say, this is like one of my favourite fixtures that I look forward to every year. And it's probably, I'm sure you feel this as well, it's one of the ones that, like, I really just wish I was there. I really just wish I didn't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I think it's going to be like 5 o'clock in the morning. I haven't looked at the time, but it's a midweek game, so. And just to be able to get up and have me day and go and have a pint with the lads and grab a pie and maybe get myself a little pin badge or something, I don't know. I'd love it, but obviously I can't do it, Reds, and this is as close as we can get at the minute, Reds. Look, if you are enjoying the podcast, please do pass it on to anyone you think might enjoy it as well. We are at the stage where we're getting unbelievable support from you guys, and if you can continue to support us and refer it on to other people who you think might enjoy it as well, give us a rating. I think we've only got a couple of ratings at the moment on Spotify, and I know that actually most people are watching it on Spotify and Apple at the moment. We're only getting a handful on YouTube, but on Spotify and Apple we're doing great, but we're not getting reviewed. So if you are listening to it, please do give it a review. I struggle to say that. Give it a review. But look, thank you so much. We'll keep posting on Instagram. We'll be asking your opinions. Because there's nothing better really than hearing your side of things, and like so many of these memories of things, like I would have had to rack my brain to remember, but you guys sent them on in, so I'm absolutely fine. We will be back next week for a regular on the weekly show. We'll be looking ahead to those fixtures, which I think are Everton, Fulham and Aston Villa. Oh no, West Ham. They wear claret and blue. Can't remember. It might be Burnley. Reds, thank you so much. See you next week.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.